Hello,
Are
hello,
you gonna talk with your
machine
friends soon?
woman.
Yes?
I will talk to my friends soon.
In an hour?
Something like that.
Okay.
But first I talk Superman.
Oh,
Superman from Soviet Union, Russia.
Hello.
Welcome to the Nerd Citadel. This is the Chris Citadel today. Our generous, handsome host is not around at the moment. Give me a moment. Let me put my phone on silent in case he calls me because I'm in hiding from him. I stole his comic book collection and he's a little unhappy about that. So, as promised, I am to talk to you about Superman Red Son. So I had heard about this story many, many years ago. And they said, oh, it's a story of Superman. What if he landed in Soviet Russia instead of America? And, that's the whole deal. And I was told the ending twist. But for the sake of anyone who may not have read this one, I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free. I do highly recommend this. It's not a very long graphic novel. It's not even a graphic novel. This is like a graphic instruction manual. So I want to first say the story is really good. This is a fantastic what if scenario. What if Superman landed in Ukraine in 1938? He's a man first who wants to protect life. He wants to protect people. But he is kind of
Dead space, dead space, dead space, dead space, dead space, dead space.
reshaped by the Joseph Stalin communist ideal. So his intentions are pure, but his actions are not. This is a Superman who, over the course of his eventual presidency in Russia, in an effort to help the common man, pretty much begins enslaving them. On the other side of the world, we have America, and this comic has a really interesting view of America as very paranoid, anti-communist, pro-capitalist people who just want to see Superman removed from power. Which, I guess in the 30s and 40s, hell, up into the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of American paranoia surrounding our relationship with Russia. So I guess they took an existing historical idea and just kind of blew it up. One character that I both love and hate in this is Lex Luthor, who is basically the hero of the story, but every panel that he's in, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, this fucking guy again. He is such an egotistical dickbag, this entire story. And but the story really plays up his role as like the world's smartest man. The dude is like, people call him like, hey, Lex, it's 9 a.m. What are you doing? And he's like, I learned 6 new languages this morning, and I'm learning a 7th now, a language that isn't even native to Earth or something. And he's never just like, oh, hey, I did this thing today. He like rubs it in everyone's face, and then eventually he gets old and dies, and they're like, oh, and he's buried in a mausoleum in a geometric maze of his own design. And I'm like, oh,
Fuck you.
he does end up liberating the world from Superman. And it's this interesting thing that the biggest douche in the comic is the hero. Which is, nice little turning something on its head. And how the story works in part of Superman's rogues gallery. Bizarro is the first villain he fights. Bizarro is an American invention trying to replicate Superman. But Bizarro is way too... you want to say he's not very smart or whatever, but his actions are causing people to die. And Superman is not about that. As much as he turns into a tyrant that enslaves people and puts, brain chips on them, he does not want to spill blood. So, he and Bizarro don't get along too much. Joseph Stalin's illegitimate son, Peter, way back in the day, ended up shooting some anti-Stalin folks and leaving their son there. And that kid ends up growing up to be Batman. And Batman's like this terrorist freedom fighter who has like a cult following. Hal Jordan, the Green Lanterns, Lex Luthor helps replicate the Green Lantern ring, so that there's a whole squadron of Green Lanterns. Now, Wonder Woman and Superman, they have a kind of cool relationship where she has more romantic feelings for him than he does for her, and he values her loyalty, yada, yada, yada. But there's a really interesting panel, and yeah, this is going into spoiler territory, where Batman has Superman bathed in red light, and he's just beating the absolute shit out of him. And he locks Superman in, like, a vault that's just being soaked with red light. Superman's like, oh, Diana, I know it's going to hurt you, but you have to break the lasso of truth, which she has been tied down with. Well, she does so, and it breaks her mind. She gets all crazy for a little while, and then realizes that Superman has been more selfish in his quest than he should have been. He's doing... I'm sorry, all the thumbs up? Well, 1, folks, you guys get a thumbs up. All, like, 7 of you. Thanks, Mom. And 2, I'm giving my girlfriend thumbs ups because she is making tea, and she looks good. Looks like we're having some green tea, probably some matcha.
No, just green tea? Oh, jasmine. Okay, some jasmine green tea.
Yeah, so we're going to be drinking tea shortly. I don't know exactly what else to say about this. I think the art direction is really fantastic. And the look, just the overall aesthetic to how the Green Lantern Corps looks, to how Batman looks, Superman's various costumes being a play on his classic look, while still kind of beholden to what Soviet officials and Soviet leaders have looked like. Brainiac is an interesting design in this. Brainiac just he looks like a bug in this. That's really the best way to put it. I don't want to cut in too many edits showing panels because, I don't know entirely what's fair use and what's going to be using copyrighted material. I'm kind of new to this, so now I realized I don't have a whole lot to say when I don't have someone else to play off of. But yeah, the art direction is really good in this. The story is really good. And it covers its bases as far as Wonder Woman, Batman, the Green Lantern, Lex Luthor, Bizarro, various other Superman villains. You get little fun fan moments, like when the Green Lantern Corps, Hal Jordan and all the duplicate lanterns, are fighting against Superman. One of them's like, "Colonel, I can't hold it. I can't concentrate." And he's like, "Well, bite your lip and shrug it off, Gardner." Just for Guy Gardner, and I think they mentioned Jon Stewart somewhere in there too. So it's very interesting. I am rambling though, so we're going to close this video up in another minute or two. I guess, with all the praise I give it, there has to be something wrong. And I think there is just one glaring issue with this. And that is, because it's so short, the story moves very fast. There are a lot of heavy, impactful moments in this story that should have gotten more attention. Wonder Woman breaking the lasso of truth. You don't have to be afraid. You can go sit on the couch. You're good. It's all right. It's good for people to see you. Do it for the views. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh, Wonder Woman having to break the lasso of truth. Happens pretty fast in the comic. There's a setup panel and then there's the action panel. And then you don't spend a lot of time with her afterwards. You get a couple of panels of her in basically in a psychosis or comatose pretty much. And then the next time you see her, she's kind of back to being a badass. So, and that's just one example of a lot of these things. Same thing happens with, the Batman fight, the Bizarro fight. There's a lot that just seems kind of rushed through, not because the story's bad, but because it's such a short story, things need to be condensed. So if you're looking for a highly detailed story for something where the individual beats are highly detailed, this might not be for you. But if you want a really interesting, unique take on Superman in this what if scenario, I gotta recommend Red Sun. I had heard so many cool things about it, and finally getting to read it has been an absolute treat. I left the end of the comic out because that's the best part. The last few pages of this, once Brainiac is out of the picture, it gets very, very, very cool with its twist ending. So I highly recommend you give this a shot. Unless you want more detail in your individual beats, in which case I say still give it a shot. So if you want more of us working separately, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want us back together, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more of my girlfriend, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you think this channel is a waste of time and we need to, just quit while we're behind Jordan, like, comment, and subscribe. So, this is Chris, the Chris Citadel, and this was Superman, Red Sun. There's only one superpower now.